Welcome back, everyone. This is GTA Failer. In our last video, we tackled the burglar side mission, which landed us right here by this garage where we dropped off all the stolen goods, except this is not exactly the same save file we had before. The more observant of you will recognize that I'm now holding like a 2-foot-long purple dildo. And yeah, in the odds and ends video that I released before this one, it's in the playlist, I went around and gathered a bunch of weapons. And so this is the save file that I'm using right now, is the one where I've already gathered a ton of weapons. So once we slap a few more people around with this dildo, I'm going to go ahead and scroll through all the weapons in the top right corner of the screen. So there are like 13 different categories of weapons, but look in the top right, we had a gift, we had handheld was the spray can, explosive Molotov, we had a sniper rifle, assault rifle, submachine gun, shotgun, there's the silenced 9mm, shovel is in the melee slot, and then fist, and then we're back around to the dildo, which is in the gift slot. Okay, so the subject of this video is Paramedic, but before we go to Paramedic, we're going to skip the drive over to the gym here, and just, I think we're just going to do bicep curls until the gym tells us that we can't do any more for the day, continuing to try to max out that muscle statistic. Looks like we're at about, I don't know, 20%, 15%, something like that. So let's go ahead and do this until the gym says we've had enough for the day. In our last video, I mentioned that this Verona Beach gym was modeled after the real-life Muscle Beach. So let me go ahead and read from Wikipedia. Muscle Beach is the birthplace of the United States physical fitness boom, which started in 1934 with gymnastics activities on the south side of Santa Monica Pier. Muscle Beach, Venice is the contemporary title of the outdoor weightlifting platform constructed in Venice, California, which is a distinct neighborhood in the city of Los Angeles 18 years after Muscle Beach was established. Popular gymnastic and acrobatic exhibitions were routinely held there in the 1930s on city-provided equipment. A platform on the beach with weightlifting equipment provided a workout area for such famous bodybuilders as Vic Tanny, Jack LaLanne, and Joe Gold. By the 1950s, Muscle Beach established worldwide fame and helped to popularize and bring legitimacy to physical culture with acrobatics and bodybuilding. Today, it is an open playground with a gated area that encloses weightlifting equipment. You just saw in the top left corner that we were now eligible to learn a fighting style at the gym. So here's the deal. Reading from the wiki, the GTA wiki, each gym has a trainer with a different fighting style, but the player will only have access to them when they have amassed 35% muscle. Right, so each of the 3 indoor gyms, there's one gym in each of the main areas of the state of San Andreas, has somebody that will teach you some fighting styles, I guess something to help you get better at hand-to-hand combat in the game, but you can't begin to learn those fighting styles until you're at least at 35% muscle, so I guess that means that we just passed that 35% muscle threshold. This outdoor gym does not have somebody that will train us to do any of the fighting. And now I'll read something from the GTA wiki about this gym, the Verona Beach gym. If the player parks a vehicle on top of the 2 barbells and then gets out and starts to exercise with them, CJ may appear on top of the vehicle and will go through the weightlifting animation with nothing in his hands. On other occasions, he may appear with his body stuck inside the vehicle, doing the lifting animation, and he may shudder and distort out of proportion. Huh, I didn't know any of that. We got to try that, don't we? So I didn't get anything too crazy to happen. You saw that I used a cheat code to spawn in this blood ring banger. I'm not going to come back to this save file. And you can see that CJ was standing inside the car doing his bicep curls, no problem. And then at the end, he ended up on top of the car. I'll try beginning the exercises from here. Is he facing the other way now? And same deal. So he's clearly in the car, but that's the only thing that happened. And I don't think the car is moving because of CJ. I think it's because that guy on the right is pushing the car. Okay, so then I tried to drive the car on top of the bench. The wiki didn't say anything about what happens when you try to do bench press with a car on top of the bench, so we're all about experimentation in this series. So accidentally got in, but eventually we'll figure out how to get on the bench. Place your bets. What's going to happen when we get on this bench to exercise with a car in the way, and the car despawns. That's it. No fun for us. It just disappeared. And then I figured we've got a stationary bike here, might as well try again. So we'll spawn in that blood ring banger. This one spawned in the fence. And then we get on, and yeah, you can bike no problem. And here the bike is a little bit blocked, but it just seems like the car has no hit detection. The bike kind of takes priority along with CJ. And that was all I was able to figure out. Okay, so now we're back to our regular save file, no cheat codes here. And we're going to head over to Roboy's Food Mart again, because Paramedic, which again is the subject of this video, is a long mission, and you can't get out in the middle, and I don't want CJ to start losing fat and then have no fat reserves and then start losing muscle. So we've already been in this one, and I'm generally going to go to different sprunk machines and stuff, but here I just figured I would show you the animation. We didn't take a look at the animation when we did our sprunk marathon in our last video. So here, looking from the side, you can see that CJ picks it up and he drinks it. But the wiki says that the can is actually upside down. Is it? It's hard to tell. So I'll freeze it here at the top of the animation. If you look really close, yeah, I think you can read the UNK from the sprunk. It's at the bottom of the can, and indeed, it's upside down. I don't know who caught that. You have to really be looking very carefully to discover that that sprunk is upside down. Okay, so variety is the spice of life. We're done with that sprunk machine, and we're going to show you a different kind of vending machine. This is a snack machine. Same deal. It replaces, I think, the same amount of fat, same amount of health, and here's the animation. He picks up nothing, and it looks like he's drinking it. I guess from a programming standpoint, it makes sense to just reuse that animation. And now we're going to double speed, quadruple speed, and then just start pounding these sandwiches or whatever the snacks are. We want to get our fat up again before we do our marathon paramedic session. According to the wiki, there are roughly 20 snack vending machines scattered throughout the 3 main islands here in San Andreas, and maybe about 30 sprunk vending machines. So I guess we're going to try to visit them all. Anyway, we've got the 2 tackled in this Roboy's Food Mart. And I touched on the reason we wanted fat in our last episode, but let me talk a little bit more in detail there. So reading from the wiki, let's see, what does it say here? It says, having no fat at all is inadvisable because CJ will instead start to lose muscle if he grows hungry. Before this happens, the player is given the following warning, quote, you are starting to feel hungry and you are starting to lose energy. You need to find something to eat. If he has no muscle or fat to shed, so if he has no fat, like if he's gone through his fat reserves and he's still hungry, then he starts going through his muscle reserves. This is like actual anatomy. And if he has gone through his muscle reserves and has literally no muscle, then he starts to lose health until he eventually dies. And according to the wiki, behind the scenes, the fat number, the fat statistic, is measured with a value from 0 to a maximum of 1,000. The starting value at the beginning of a new game is 200. 200 fat out of 1,000, which is 20%. And also according to the wiki, if the player goes 48 in-game hours without eating, which is 48 real-life minutes, CJ will shed fat at a rate of 2.5% per in-game hour. I'll say it again. If you don't eat for 2 full days, 2 straight days, then CJ starts to lose fat 2.5% every in-game hour, or 2.5% every real-life minute. And the fact is, Paramedic takes a long time, and so, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we go more than 48 minutes doing Paramedic, and then, therefore, CJ is going to start losing fat, so that's why we're doing this build-up to make sure that we have enough fat to survive when we go 48 hours without eating anything. So here we are over at the hospital, and we're going to save our game using our Quicksave program. Probably most of my viewers are familiar with how Paramedic works in GTA, but basically you hop in an ambulance, start the mission, you get a blue square or triangle showing up on the map. You got a certain amount of time in order to pick them up, and then you get a time bonus, and then you got to return them to the hospital before time runs out. So we got 52 seconds counting down here, and this is level 1, and on level 2 there'll be 2 patients out there. You got to bring them back to the hospital. Level 3, 3 patients, up to level 12, 12 patients. So I'm going to show you fails before I show you my pass of this thing. So first fail is if the patient dies. Now in this case, I killed the patient, although I appreciate the neutrality of the patient is dead. But you fail even if somebody else kills your patient. The paramedic mission ends immediately if you get out and the patient disappears. Here I push the 2 button to cancel paramedic, and again the patient disappeared. Here in the back of the ambulance, this patient is going to disappear when time runs out. See ya. And in this next clip, I'm going to let time run out with a patient on the street there, and again they're going to disappear, like they lose their head first. It's quite gruesome. And now here, I used a flying cars cheat just to get over to San Fierro. I'm not going to come back to this save file, but like I mentioned, if you go somewhere you're not supposed to, you get an automatic 4-star wanted level. So what happens if you try to do Paramedic in San Fierro before San Fierro is unlocked? Well, you can start Paramedic. It says on the screen, Paramedic, in the top right, level 1, and seats free, but it doesn't have a timer. And more worrying is that on the minimap, there's no blue squares or triangles. So yeah, you can start Paramedic, but if the area that you're in is not unlocked yet, then the game just won't spawn any patients for you. And now it's finally time for us to actually do our legitimate attempt at completing all 12 levels of Paramedic consecutively. You can see here we are knocking the doors off the back of the ambulance and also the passenger door. Just makes it a little bit quicker for the patients to get in into the ambulance because we don't have to go through that door opening and door closing animation. And now strap in, boys and girls, because this is a marathon. I think Paramedic is going to be the longest single mission we do in this game. And yeah, it's a doozy, especially if you do it here in Los Santos. This is not the best place to do it. There's a like a medical center somewhere in Red County where the patients spawn a lot closer to the hospital than they do here in Los Santos. But I thought this was the most natural place to do it. You know, this is like where you start the game, and there's really nothing bringing us to Red County right now. And also, you know, Joshimus did early Paramedic 2 in his series, and I don't want to just like do everything exactly the way that he did it. So we're going to do Paramedic right here in Los Santos. Distant patients be damned. So let's just talk a little bit more about Paramedic in general. As I mentioned, you pick up 1 patient on level 1, 2 patients on level 2, 3 patients on level 3, all the way up to 12 patients on level 12, and you have to do all 12 levels consecutively in order to complete this side mission. You can't just do a few levels here and then stop and then a few levels another time. Got to do it all in a row. One major difference between Paramedic in San Andreas compared to Paramedic in Vice City and GTA 3 is that when you picked up the first patient in a given level in GTA 3 or Vice City, you know, you get some particular time bonus. Let's say that you pick up the first patient in level 5 and you get a time bonus of 22 seconds. Well, every other patient you pick up in that same level 5 is going to give you exactly 22 seconds. That additional time bonus is copied for the entirety of level 5 once it's established by picking up that first patient in level 5. Additionally, when you drop off the first batch of patients in level 5, you would get a 22-second time bonus. But if you had to drop off multiple batches of patients, like in level 8, you know, maybe you drop off 3 people and then 3 people and then 2 people, you only get that time bonus the first time you drop patients off in a given level. So the difference here is that in San Andreas, the time that you get to pick up, the time bonus you get when you pick up a patient is different for each patient. It's a function of how far away they are. I saw time bonuses ranging from like 15 seconds for patients that were quite close to the hospital up to 45 seconds for patients that were farther away. I don't think it can go higher than 45. I saw a lot of patients that had a time bonus of 45 of varying distances. So I think anybody beyond a certain distance from the hospital, just automatically a time bonus of 45 seconds. But like I said, the time bonuses are different for each patient, even on a single level. And same thing, the time bonus you get when you drop patients off the first time in a given level, like on level 4, you're going to see me drop off 1 patient, and then I'll go back out and pick up the other 3. You're going to get a time bonus when you drop off that 1 patient. You don't have to drop off a full boat, a full ambulance of patients in order to get the time bonus for that drop off. However, you don't get the time bonus for your first drop off on levels 1, 2, or 3. Like on level 3, even if you went out and picked up 1 person and brought them back and then went to get the other 2, you would not get a time bonus when you dropped off that first person. One important thing, I should have mentioned it a while ago, but the capacity of the ambulance is 3 patients. So you can't carry any more than 3 folks. You can see there in the top right, it tells you how many seats are left, how many seats are available in the ambulance. And that capacity of 3 patients is consistent here compared to GTA 3 and Vice City. When we started Paramedic, the game gave us a warning. It said, hey, if you injure the patients in the back of your ambulance by getting into accidents, then you decrease their health and you run the risk of killing them while they're in the ambulance. So for science, I tried to kill one of my patients in the back of the ambulance by smacking into every wall and building and fence that I could find. And the patient, gave out lots of groans with every impact, but they didn't die. In fact, my ambulance died before the patient died. My ambulance caught fire from all of those accidents, and I could not get the patient to die. Let us know in the comments if you've ever experienced that, where the patient dies while they are in the back of the ambulance. Now let's go ahead and talk about the rewards for completing Paramedic. So there's the cash reward, and according to the wiki, the formula for how much cash you get at the end of each level is the square of the level times 50, always times 50. So for example, if you complete, like when you complete level 3, you square that level, you square 3 and you get 9, and you multiply by 50, always by 50, and 9 times 50 is $450. So when we complete level 3, we get $450 added to our bank account in the top right of the screen. And we go all the way through 12 levels, and when you complete the 12th level, you also get a $5,000 completion bonus. Like you get the 7,200 from that formula for completing the 12th level by itself, but you also get $5,000 for completing Paramedic. And altogether, that gives you $37,500. So that's how much money we're going to earn from completing the 12 levels of Paramedic here. Completing Paramedic, all 12 levels consecutively, is required for 100% completion in the game. The biggest reward, from my perspective, is the increase to your health. So you can see up there in the top right, we've got 2 rectangles, one white and one red. So the red one is the health number, and the white one is the armor. And when you get shot, the armor decreases first, and once the armor is down to 0, then the red health starts to decrease. When you complete all 12 levels of Paramedic consecutively, the health number gets increased to its maximum. Now, I don't have a numerical value to give you, but I can tell you that when we complete Paramedic, the red rectangle that you see up there in the top right is physically going to get bigger. It's going to, like the cash number is going to move down maybe a centimeter, and the red rectangle will move down maybe a centimeter, and then the red rectangle will be extended towards the left. The right-hand side of the red rectangle stays where it is, but the left-hand side of the red rectangle goes all the way to the left edge of the weapon square up there. And so I don't think it quite doubles in size, but once we complete Paramedic, you're going to see that change happen. And you're also going to see that our health isn't given to us as full. It just says, hey, you know, whatever health you had before, you still have it, but now you have a bigger capacity for your health. And so only part of the larger red rectangle is actually going to be filled in, shaded in, and it looks to me like about half of it is shaded in at the end of this attempt. So roughly, it seems to me that when you pass Paramedic, your health doubles. If anybody can confirm this or knows that is not true, either way, let us know in the comments below. Now I'll go ahead and read the trivia section about Paramedic in San Andreas from the wiki. Due to a glitch, 2 patients may sometimes spawn inside of each other while standing on the sidewalk. However, if the player drives the ambulance up to them, they may pop out of each other and enter the ambulance like normal. I never had that happen in any of my attempts. If Carl rolls the ambulance onto its side for a period of time, all patients will get out and no longer need to go to the hospital. When the ambulance rights itself, he can carry on with the mission. Hey, sounds like a speed strat. Also sounds quite risky. Your ambulance needs to survive all 12 levels, and dragging it on its side for a while, I think, decreases the health of that ambulance pretty quick. In the iOS version, if Carl activates the mission near the All Saints General Hospital, that's the one we're doing right here in Los Santos, it will be impossible to complete Paramedic farther than level 10 because the game will crash during level 10 or 11. This was tested in version 1.02. How? How did they not test Paramedic in the first hospital that's accessible to you in the game? My goodness. Finally, in the trivia section, if a Paramedic mission is started, any recruited gang members will cease to be recruited. Therefore, if the player enters an ambulance, starts the Paramedic mission, cancels it, and leaves the ambulance, the gang member sitting in the passenger seat will move over to the driver's seat and drive the ambulance away. And I think I'm going to rate every mission in the game. I did that in my GTA 3 True 100% Plus series and also in my Vice City True 100% Plus series. You can check out either or both of those series. The playlists are linked in the description below. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and rate Paramedic. But before, let's catch up and rate Firefighter. Firefighter's pretty cool. I think it's like a reasonable length, it's quite straightforward. It's not difficult and pretty fun to go around putting fires out. So we'll give that one a 7 out of 10. Not a bad fetch quest. And then Paramedic. So Paramedic, it's like quite similar, right? But I don't like the capacity of 3. You got to make so many trips back and forth. And in particular, doing Paramedic here at Los Santos, some of these trips are going to be absurdly long. Like, these patients are far from the hospital. My goodness, this town needs more medical facilities. And so it just becomes quite grinding. Like, it's just too long if you do paramedic here in Los Santos. Like, if you do it at one of the smaller hospitals, like there's one in Whetstone there's a town called Angel Pine. That's the one that typically people do paramedic at here in the game of San Andreas, because it's way quicker to do paramedic there than it is to do it here in Los Santos. I'm going to go ahead and I'm probably going to do paramedic at each of the different medical facilities just to really be thorough in my playthrough of this game. And maybe in terms of showing that content, maybe I'll just show the level 12 of my attempts at each of the different hospitals. But here in Los Santos, it's just way too long. I don't think it's all that challenging. Like, as long as you don't smack into everything all the time with your ambulance, don't roll the ambulance. It seems reasonable in terms of the difficulty. Generally, I find the time bonuses they give you to be sufficient. In the later levels, you're going to see that we end up with 4 minutes on the clock. We've got plenty of time to do this. But it's just too long. So we're going to give paramedic a 5 out of 10. That said, in my GTA 3 playthrough, I ended up doing a whole episode-long rant about how broken paramedic was in GTA 3. I gave it a 1 out of 10 over there because it was just miserable. The programmers just made that mission way too hard in GTA 3. But here, the difficulty is reasonable. I just think it's a little bit too long. So 5 out of 10 on paramedic and 7 out of 10 on firefighter. Go ahead and give us your grades for either or both of those missions, firefighter and paramedic. I'm going to grade all these things on a 10-point scale. 1 is terrible and 10 is amazing. Now I'll read from the wiki page about gameplay features that were added to San Andreas that did not exist in Vice City or any of the earlier GTA games. Reading from the wiki, new vehicles include bicycles, trucks with detachable trailers, police motorcycles, operable tow trucks, combine harvesters, quad bikes, aircrafts, military jet fighters, and trains. New to the player's character is the ability to swim and climb up and over short walls and fences. For greater firepower, players can also wield dual firearms or perform a drive-by shooting with several gang members in the car. The camera, fighting, and targeting controls were reworked with concepts from another Rockstar game, Manhunt, including improved target crosshairs that change colors from green to red to black, depending on the target's health. Rockstar has emphasized the personalization of the main character. Clothing and accessories, haircuts, and tattoos are all now available for purchase by CJ, and they have more of an effect on NPCs' reactions than the clothing did in Vice City. Players must also ensure that CJ eats to stay healthy, obtaining food from fast food restaurants, such as Cluck and Bell, street vendors, diners, bars, and nightclubs. Although they don't talk about the most important source of food, which is Sprunk. The balance of food and exercise has an effect on CJ's muscularity and appearance. If he overeats, he'll get fat and move more slowly. If he fails to eat, he'll become less muscular and eventually will lose health. San Andreas also features skills in areas such as driving, firearms handling, stamina, and lung capacity, which improve through use in the game. Yeah, so we're going to max out all of those things through this play series. CJ may also learn 3 different styles of unarmed combat at the gyms in each of the game's 3 cities. A new activity that continues the GTA series tradition of controversy is home invasion. So that's the burglar thing that we did in our last video. And that reminds me that I didn't rate the side mission that is burglar that we did in the last video. I'm going to give that one a 7 out of 10. I think it's pretty fun. It's cool that, you go into a particular unmarked van and you can only do it between, 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. And you get this balaclava put on you and then you go in and you're supposed to be quiet, but you can get out quick even if the noise level is too high. It's a pretty fun side mission. You know what? We're going to go 8 out of 10. Feel free to share your rating of burglar in the comments down below. Coming back to the new gameplay features from the wiki, this page doesn't mention a couple of things that I'll throw in here. So number 1, the fall damage that you take in San Andreas is far more realistic than the fall damage you took in Vice City and in GTA 3. Like in Vice City, you could jump off of the tallest building in the game, like the Hyman Memorial Safe House, and lose 14 health or something like that. Whereas here, if you fall, more than 2 stories, you die. So that's more realistic. And another thing that they threw in there is the parachute concept that didn't exist in Vice City or anything earlier, so that's pretty cool. Now I'll come back to reading from the wiki page. Numerous mini-games are also available for play in San Andreas, including basketball, pool, rhythm-based challenges, video game machines that pay homage to classic arcade games such as Gyrus, Defender, and Gradius, in addition to gambling, right? There's the inside track where you can gamble on the outcome of a horse race, and then over in Las Venturas, there's a whole casino collection of gambling mini games. From the wiki, the player can voluntarily enable CJ to conduct dialogue with a number of pedestrians in the game, including drug dealers, prospective girlfriends, and fellow gang members. CJ's level of respect among his fellow Grove Street gang members varies according to his actions, as do his relationships with his girlfriends. Right, so girlfriends are a brand new mechanic as well. Rockstar claims that CJ has a total of about 4,200 lines of spoken dialogue. That is wild. 4,200 lines of spoken dialogue. Crazy. Two-player co-op mode has been added for the PS2 and Xbox. We obviously won't be able to see that here. I'm playing on PC, but in the PlayStation 2 and Xbox versions of the game, there are two-player icons found in several key locations in the San Andreas world. Looks like they're essentially rampages, like that you might have seen in previous games. So I think that's all I'll share from that page, and let me go ahead and take a few minutes just to share my personal history with the GTA games. So back when they first came out, like I heard the controversy, saw stuff in the news, but never actually experienced any of the games myself. The first time I saw actual gameplay in person, 2008, I think it was. So definitely not an early adopter. But anyway, somebody showed me some gameplay from GTA 3, and this guy just took a baseball bat in the game in GTA 3 and started beating on random pedestrians. And he was laughing out loud, and I was horrified. I understood the controversy there right in front of me. But clearly I've gotten over the horror that I had initially. I didn't really think about the GTA games much after that, other than, that experience that I had with that baseball bat and smushing the guy's head. But then, I don't know, 2012 maybe, I got a Kindle Fire HD, which is a touch screen. And I got it mostly for productivity purposes, some entertainment purposes, and discovered after I bought this thing that you can actually play video games on it. And so I went to the store, I don't know what the store is called, like the Amazon store or something, and saw that, there was this massive sale on Vice City. And I said, hey, let me give this a try. And so I bought the thing, I bought Vice City on the Kindle Fire HD. It was $4.99. And I played it, and, within a couple of seconds of starting a new game, one of the pedestrians cursed at me, and I just laughed out loud. So I'd gotten over my initial shock from a few years earlier, and I just fell in love with Vice City, the gameplay, the open world concept, the beautiful 80s Florida scenery, the music, everything was just fabulous. I remember stealing my first car and pulling up to a traffic light in the game, and there was a police officer stopped at this red traffic light, and I was right next to the police officer, and I said to myself, did I just buy a game where I get to wait at traffic lights? I don't want to wait in traffic lights in real life. Why would I buy a game where I have to do this? Thinking that I would get in trouble with the law if I drove through this red traffic light in the game of Vice City. And I decided to just roll through it anyway. And it turns out the cops will let you get away with traffic violations in Vice City and a whole lot more serious criminal violations as well. So I played Vice City, 100% completed it all the way through using a walkthrough from GameFAQs.com. Took many, many hours. The touchscreen controls were very challenging for some missions. The missions where you need precise controls and you need to be really responsive with your inputs, the Kindle Fire HD is not designed for that kind of precision. So there were some missions which were really, really hard that I think are supposed to be straightforward when you have decent controls. So just one example was the mini game called the shootist, or it's the shootist is a mission that you do where you have to impress Phil Cassidy with your shooting ability. And then after you pass that mission, then if you want 100% in the game, you have to go back in and do that same target practice thing with the 3 stages of target practice and all the bullseyes and the characters moving and everything. No, actually, no, it's just the first stage in that mini game after the mission. And you had to get 45 points within 2 minutes, and you only had 100 bullets, and that's that. You have to be really accurate and really quick hitting these moving bullseyes, and with a keyboard and mouse, it's easy. but with the touchscreen on the Kindle Fire, it was impossible. I probably spent 2 hours failing on that thing. I was going to give up on my dream of getting 100%. Eventually, struggled through it and got my 100% completion in that game, but that was tough. So I think I played through Vice City twice, and then I was like, hey, maybe there's other GTA games in this Amazon store I could play on the Kindle, and discovered San Andreas on sale for like $3.99, and so I bought that one. Again, played it through 100%. Only played that one through once, I think. I don't think I played it a second time. Loved it, but again, there were some missions that are supposed to be straightforward that were just near impossible. Like all of the plane races in San Andreas were just incredibly difficult because like the Kindle would just read inputs that weren't there, and it would just crash me into mountains and into the ground and into the water and everything. There's one mission where you have to like fly really low, like below some radar limit. The character voiced by James Woods gives that mission, and that one was also so hard, so much harder than I think it was intended to be, just because of the imprecise nature of the touchscreen controls. So really loved playing through San Andreas, but there were parts that were incredibly frustrating just because I didn't have tight controls. Then I didn't really do anything in the GTA universe for several years. Probably in like 2017, 2018, a friend of mine loaned me a PlayStation. I think it was a PS3, maybe it was PS4. And he also loaned me the game GTA 4, and I never played that one. And that one, was obviously set in Liberty City. I hadn't played GTA 3 at all, but it was not cartoonish, right? Like Vice City and San Andreas and GTA 3 are all kind of cartoon-like characters, whereas there was more of a dark, gritty, realistic tone in GTA 4. I loved it, but it was quite a different graphical style than I had grown accustomed to. I intended to play through the game and get 100% completion. I was using a FAQ, a walkthrough in order to do that. Probably got about 15-20% of the way through the game. I was having a good time with it. I remember, shooting these pigeons. They were called flying rats. It was a collectible in the game, and just like going all around the map and exploring and discovering all these kind of hidden collectibles, and that was really fun. But I just didn't have time in my life to really dedicate to that project. So just I haven't played that game since then, 2017, something like that, and haven't played it all the way through. And then I did play some GTA 5 with a different friend of mine who had a PlayStation 5. And so he and I were, again, using a walkthrough to try to beat this game 100%. And we would just like take turns, controlling the character for the different missions. Or like he was much better at the combat stuff than I was, and I was much better at the driving than he was. And so, we just kind of passed the controller back and forth, playing to our strengths. And I think we got something like 45-50% of the way through. And then, again, just kind of life happened. He was busy, I was busy. But that was a lot of fun, playing through a bunch of GTA 5. And so that's my experience with those games. And then I bought on my computer GTA 3 and Vice City and San Andreas, and I played GTA 3 for the first time and fell in love with that game. I think what I fell in love with was not using the stupid touchscreen controls from the Kindle Fire HD. So finally had a keyboard and mouse, had precise controls, and I played through GTA 3. Absolutely loved it. Ended up, working out or finding somebody who did like 100% speedrun route. I found somebody on YouTube that had a complete playthrough of this game. I modified his order, his routing, some of his speed strats I modified, and I think I spent probably about 1,000 hours learning and practicing a speed run for GTA 3. Got my time down to 9 hours for a 100% speed run. The world record, I think, is like 4 hours. So the folks who are world class at that are much better gamers than I am, but also they used like a lot of glitches, and they skipped missions by holding phone calls and duping. I didn't do any of that. Like I just played the game cleanly. I'm not judging people for using those glitches or duping or whatever, but it just wasn't what I was after. I wanted to experience the game fully, kind of what I'm doing here in this series. And so loved GTA 3, then went into to GTA Vice City and did the same thing where, again, I played it with a keyboard and mouse, so much better than using the touch screens on that Kindle. And so that was a lot of fun, and ended up playing Vice City speedrun route for like 500, 600 hours, something like that. Didn't quite like it as much as GTA 3, which I was really surprised by. I expected to like Vice City even more than GTA 3, but it turned out in Vice City there's just too much time spent in the 100% route doing things that I didn't think were fun. And so, like, not everything in GTA 3 is a barrel of laughs. Like doing the 100 taxi drop offs in GTA 3 took about an hour and 10 minutes, although I was looking for some rare cars to do the import export thing while I was doing the taxi drop offs. So it was okay. But then doing the 100 drop offs in Vice City took like an hour and 40 minutes, and I wasn't doing anything else, nothing else productive during that hour 40. That was rough. There were some boat race missions that I found challenging even after lots of practice. Like that, I just thought that the time constraints were really, really tight. Distribution, that's the one where you get the Cherry Poppers ice cream van and just like distribute 50 ice creams, and it takes 10 minutes, and it's just so boring. And there were several missions that I found in Vice City that were long and boring, more so than I found in GTA 3. And I decided I wasn't done with GTA 3, so then I made my GTA 3 True 100% Plus video series. Really enjoyed doing that, basing my work on the concept that Josh Amos came up with, and then decided I wanted more Vice City in my life as well. So I made a True 100% Plus series of videos for Vice City, and that was a lot of fun too. And now here we are in San Andreas. And so, as you heard, my experience with San Andreas was only like playing it through 100%, maybe twice, maybe only the once, back in, like 2014, 2015, something like that. And so I don't have the, 1,000 hours in San Andreas that I did in, GTA 3 and a little bit less than that in Vice City. So I'm going to learn a ton more in this series, and I know I'll learn a lot from my viewers. You leave comments when I make mistakes, leave comments when you have stuff to share that I just didn't mention. And just really looking forward to learning more about the universe that is San Andreas. All right, so let's come back to the gameplay here. Where are we? Looks like we're wrapping up level 9. Okay, fair enough. So I'm generally going to try to keep these videos to like 30 minutes or less, and this one is already a bit long. So what I'm going to do is drop off this last patient in level 9, and then we'll end this video, and then we will see the exciting conclusion to Paramedic in our next video, and I'll find more stuff to share while we're watching me crush this side mission. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you real soon.